We are 23 games into the postseason, and there's a lot to unpack.
Wearing another kind of mask. He took it in hot.
With insane finishes, upsets, and more, this year's playoffs is the definition of unpredictable. So in today's video, we'll be recapping some of the most exciting matchups so far. Let's get into it.
For me specifically, this was probably the most interesting series in the West. You have a team that just lost their head coach, while on the other hand, a team that everybody counted out in the beginning of the year, but is now one of the best teams coming out of the All-Star break. And I might tell you this series did not disappoint. The Clippers started this game looking like the better team. The commentators said it themselves. The Clippers looked like they were doing layup lines. The Nuggets' intensity was missing, and it was looking like they couldn't buy a bucket on the other end either. This was until they started getting going late in the second.
With a couple of steals and transition buckets, they found themselves within 5, and by the end of the second, it was a 3-point game. This remained the same in the third, with the teams going back and forth. However, once it came to the fourth, everything unfolded. Jamal Murray was going to his playoff ways, while on the other hand, Nicholas Batum was looking like a madman. However, the MVP of this game had to go to Russell Westbrook. His offensive rebounding late in this clutch 3 with 30 seconds left to go helped send the game into overtime. In overtime, the Nuggets fed off his energy and ultimately took a crazy Game 1.
Game 2 is pretty much a reflection of Game 1, except for the opposite teams. The Nuggets came out of the gate firing, and it was looking like Murray was on pace to a flu game. The ball was popping and they ended the quarter up 6. That was until Kawhi Leonard went back to his prime and put up a performance we have not seen in a very long time. Step backs, turnarounds, dunks. In the second half, things started to get chippy and tension started to rise as the game got closer. Jokic and Kawhi were going back and forth.
However, in the final minutes of the game, Norman Powell hit a big 3 to extend the lead. After that, the Nuggets weren't able to answer. In a nail-biter, the Clippers were able to even the series, and after appearing in just 2 playoff games over the last 2 years, 2-time Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard is healthy and looking like his old self again. I guess Kawhi is really on the rise.
Game 3 was a crucial one, and let's just say after a bad loss in Game 2 for the Nuggets, they needed a bounce-back game. In the start, it was looking like they would get just that. That was until the Clippers decided it was time to pick it up and finish the quarter strong. After this, they went on to rout the Nuggets in the second, and this led on to the fourth. By the fourth, it got so bad that they put Patty Mills in the game. Clippers ended up finishing the game by 34, going down as one of the worst playoff games for the Nuggets in recent history. It looks like the series might end a tad bit earlier than we all expected.
For the NBA world, this game was crucial, especially because of the last time the Detroit Pistons made it to the playoffs was 7 years ago. I mean, this was the same team that lost 28 games in a row last season and was on the verge of losing their entire fan base. Honestly, props to the Pistons organization because this might have been one of the best turnarounds I've ever seen. And I guess you could say the game met its expectations.
Back and forth the game went, with Tobias Harris and Jalen Brunson leading the way for their respective teams. The Pistons kept it going for more than 3 quarters and had a 98-90 lead with just over 90 minutes left. By the time they scored again, the Knicks were ahead by 13 points, which marked the end of a 21-0 run. This had the famous Madison Square Garden up on their feet. Jalen iced the game in the final minutes and kept the Pistons' playoffs losing streak alive.
In Game 2, the Pistons were seeking revenge. After pretty much blowing a comfortable lead, the Pistons needed a commanding win and most importantly break their 15-game postseason losing streak. And boy was this one fun. Detroit came out the gates locking up defensively. The Knicks did not even hit 20 points in the first, and in the second, Detroit was able to maintain their lead. However, the Pistons were doing one thing wrong. Jalen Brunson caught fire. Brunson would not miss, and his masterclass helped MSG come alive. It was looking like we would see another great finish. Spoiler alert, it was crazy.
Jalen and Cade were going back and forth in MSG. Crowd going crazy. Intensity at an all-time high. This is what we call playoff basketball. With a clutch 3 by Dennis Schroeder in the final minute of the game, the Pistons ended up taking Game 2 to tie the series up. Now Cunningham and his teammates want to give these fans more than just a game. They want to give them a series.
Now this Game 3 was one of the most interesting games of the round. With the good win by Detroit in Game 2, the Knicks were looking to take a lead. However, it wasn't looking good. With Brunson and Cat coming out the gate strong, they took an early lead. Throughout the second half, they continued to extend it, and it was looking like a reflection of Game 3 from the Nuggets-Clippers series. But that's when Cade Cunningham and the Pistons started mounting a comeback. Slowly chipping away, the lead was shrinking, and by the final minutes of the fourth quarter, they got it to 2. Although with some clutch buckets late, the Knicks were able to hang on to what seemed to be a blowout game at first, but a nail-biter near the end. The Pistons have lost 8 straight home playoff games since 2008. Man, the Pistons cannot seem to avoid losing streaks.
This series might be the most anticipated series of the entire playoffs. You have who some people call the GOAT against the supposed face of the league. Luka came out of the gate scorching, but the Timberwolves did not fail to respond. After a a 16-point first quarter from Luka, they came back with a 38-20 second quarter, and after that, it was smooth sailing.
Naz Reid was lights out from 3 and was making his statement after getting beaten in the 6th Man of the Year race. The man contributed his 6 of the 21 3-pointers made by the Timberwolves throughout the game. On top of that, Anthony Edwards had almost a triple-double to end the game. Furthermore, the Timberwolves kept their hot streak alive and made a statement as a result. This would soon be the beginning of a very, very long series.
Before the second game even started, there were some major controversies. Edwards ended up being fined for this. Not only before that, but in shoot-around, Edwards started trolling the Lakers. It's safe to say that didn't intimidate Luka, as he scored 16 points in the first quarter. The Timberwolves had no answer for the Lakers, basically the polar opposite of Game 1. In the second, LeBron started to get going, but the Timberwolves soon went on an 8-0 run, mainly in part to the Lakers' careless turnovers. Yet at halftime, the Timberwolves still remained down 15. However, to start the third, this happened.
Another kind of match. He took it in hot 9! Oh, he got up there!
Edwards continued to cook, getting the lead down to as much as 11. Thanks to AR-15, their lead got pushed further. In the fourth, the Timberwolves went on a big run, and amidst the run, Luka got tripped up. Talk about playoff intensity. To conclude, the Lakers ended up tying the series up.
Coming into Game 3, the Lakers already took a hit before the game even began. It turns out that Luka was sick. The player that was averaging 30 points in this series was sick. Fortunately, he pushed through and played, but not enough to make an impact, meaning LeBron had to step up, and that he did, dropping a 40 bomb. However, LeBron couldn't stop the Timberwolves. With Anthony Edwards playing an astonishing 42 minutes, him and the Wolves cooked, yet the Lakers would still remain at arm's length. That was until the last minutes of the game when the Timberwolves ended up pulling away. It looks like the Timberwolves may upset the Lakers.
There's only one word that can describe this first game: madness. This game had everything you would want in a playoff game. Dillon Brooks and Draymond Green. To start the game, defense was looking like the top priority. Both teams' intensity was off the charts, as both teams did not even reach 40 points combined. That was until Curry came to life and did Steph Curry things. Oh, and let's not forget what Jimmy Butler does in the playoffs. Really, I do not know how we let these two on the same team.
These two showed the league why we should not count them out even as the 7th seed, leading by 23 midway through the third. That was until the Rockets started to gain some traction, and by the fourth, they had cut it to a 9-point game. The Rockets cut it to 4 with about 2.5 minutes left. However, that didn't last long, as the Warriors ended with the 7-0 run that made it 91-80 and sent fans running for exits. The Warriors took a much-needed early win in the must-watch series.
In Game 2, the Rockets had a chip on their shoulder. With everyone saying they weren't going to make it past the first round, they had some fuel, and man oh man did they use that to their advantage. They started firing on all cylinders to start the game, with Jalen Green leading the way. They had a comforting 10-point lead to end the first, and by the second, it grew to 14. This made the Warriors a tad bit mad. They expected the same type of intensity from Game 1, but in this one, the Rockets came out with a different type of energy. In the third, things started to get physical, and the Warriors' tension started to reflect on their play. It led to my favorite part of the game, in my eyes, classic Dillon Brooks versus Draymond Green brawl.
The Rockets ended up maintaining this lead for the rest of the second half. The Rockets were able to limit Curry for most of the game as he only had 20. However, they played short-handed for most of the night after Jimmy Butler left the game with a pelvis contusion after a hard fall on a foul late in the first quarter.
An eye on him. That one. Oh, look out. Wow, Butler goes down hard. Thompson.
Ultimately, Jalen Green and the Rockets ended up getting the last laugh.